22 years. That is how long Arsenal waited to call themselves champions of England again. And when it finally happened, they did not stop there. They reached the Champions League final. They strengthened again. They added one of the Premier League's most complete midfielders. They signed a winger, coming off 40 league goal contributions. And they made one of last season's defensive additions permanent. On paper, Arsenal should be terrifying. But there is a problem. The player who makes so much of this system possible may not be there when the season begins. Arsenal won the 2025-26 Premier League with 85 points, 7 clear of Manchester City, before losing the Champions League final to PSG on penalties. Winning the league usually gives a club a choice: protect what worked, or attack the weaknesses before everybody else finds them. Arsenal appear to have chosen the second option. Bruno Guimaraes has arrived from Newcastle. Christos Tzolis has arrived from Club Brugge. Piero Hincapie's move has become permanent. Ilan Meslier has arrived as another goalkeeper option. At the same time, Leandro Trossard has gone to Besiktas. Jakub Kivior's Porto move is permanent, and Christian Norgard has joined Everton. This is not a rebuild. It is something potentially more dangerous. It is a champion trying to become harder to predict. The Bruno signing is the most fascinating because, at first glance, midfield was not Arsenal's obvious emergency. Declan Rice is there. Martin Zubimendi is there. Martin Odegaard is there. Mikel Merino offers another profile. So why add Bruno? Because elite squads are not built by asking, do we already have a good player here? They are built by asking, can we create a different solution? And Bruno gives Arsenal several. Last season, he won 5.7 ground duels per 90 minutes, more than any Arsenal central midfielder in the Premier League comparison. He won 1.6 tackles per 90. Only Declan Rice recovered possession more often among the Arsenal midfielders in that comparison. But Bruno is not simply a destroyer. He also completed 12 accurate forward passes per 90, again ahead of the Arsenal midfielders in the Premier League analysis. And then there is the production. 9 Premier League goals, 5 assists, 14 goal involvements from midfield. This is why the signing matters. Bruno gives Arteta permission to change the midfield without sacrificing aggression. He can sit deeper and release Rice. He can play higher and attack the box. He can play beside Zubimendi. He can increase the intensity of a game Arsenal are losing, and in the longest seasons, the seasons where you are trying to win England and Europe at the same time, that flexibility is not luxury, it is survival. Then comes Christos Tzolis, 17 goals, 23 assists, 40 league goal contributions for Club Brugge last season. Those are enormous numbers, but the interesting question is not simply whether he is good enough. It is what his arrival tells us about Arsenal, because this squad already contains players who can operate from the left or drift into that channel. Gabriel Martinelli, Ebereki Eze, Noni Madueke, in different configurations. And now Tzolis. Last season, Arteta rotated his attacking midfielders heavily. Rice and Zubimendi started 35 and 34 league matches respectively, but Saka was the only other listed Arsenal midfielder to start more than 21. That suggests something important. Arteta may not be looking for one perfect front five. He may be building several. And that could make Arsenal far less predictable than the team that first challenged Manchester City several years ago. There is another reason this matters. Arsenal already possessed a weapon that opponents knew about and still struggled to stop. Set pieces. In the title-winning season, Arsenal scored 24 Premier League goals from dead ball situations. 18 came from corners, a Premier League record. 14 of those corner goals gave Arsenal the opening 1-0 lead. That means the set piece was not an accessory to Arsenal's football. It repeatedly changed the state of matches, and Bruno may add another layer. Premier League analysis found that 25% of his corners for Newcastle last season led to a shot from the first involvement, compared with 16.8% for Rice and 16.9% for Saka in the same table. Imagine being an opponent. You survive Arsenal's possession. You survive Saka. You survive Rice, arriving from midfield. You survive Gyökeres, occupying the centre-backs. Then you concede a corner, and there are now even more delivery options. That is what squad improvement looks like, when it is built on top of something that already works. But football rarely gives you a perfect summer. William Saliba suffered a back injury while playing for France at the World Cup. Arsenal's subsequent specialist review confirmed that rehabilitation would be required and that he was expected to be absent for an extended period. And on August 14th, Arteta was still describing Saliba's injury as longer-term, timber, progressing, back on the pitch, but still a few weeks away. This is where Arsenal's entire summer becomes more complicated, because Saliba is not simply another centre-back to replace with another centre-back. His recovery speed allows Arsenal to defend higher. His calmness allows the first phase of possession to remain patient under pressure. His one-on-one defending helps the rest of the team take risks ahead of him. Remove that profile, and the question is not just who starts. The question is, what else has to change because he doesn't? The good news is that this Arsenal squad contains more defensive flexibility than earlier versions. Nketiah can cover multiple positions, and, after spending last season with Arsenal on loan, is no stranger to Arteta's demands. Gabriel remains the defensive reference point. Ben White offers experience. Calafiori provides another left-sided solution. Christian Mosquera offers another central option, and Timber should eventually return. Nketiah's loan was converted into a permanent move this summer after his role in the title-winning campaign. But depth and equivalence are not the same thing. Arsenal can replace Saliba's position. Replacing everything Saliba gives the team is more difficult. And suddenly Bruno's arrival makes even more sense. A stronger ball-winning midfield can protect a changing defense. Rice plus Bruno can make transition moments uglier for opponents. Zubimendi can help Arsenal control the ball long enough that the centre-backs have fewer emergency situations. One problem changes the meaning of another signing. That is why transfers cannot be analyzed in isolation. And Arsenal do not have months to solve it. Manchester City are waiting in the Community Shield on August 16th. Coventry City come to the Emirates for the Premier League opener on August 22nd. Then, on August 27th, Arsenal learn their Champions League league phase opponents. 3 dates. 3 different questions. Against City, can the new midfield control an elite opponent? Against Coventry, can Arsenal handle the expectation of being defending champions? And at the Champions League draw, how difficult will the road back to the final actually be? Because this season, Arsenal are no longer the hunters. They are the team everybody watched lift the Premier League trophy. The team everybody watched reach Budapest. The team opponents have spent the summer studying. So, are Arsenal stronger? Yes. On paper, almost certainly. Bruno gives them aggression, progression, and goals from midfield. Tzolis increases competition and attacking variety. Nketiah's permanent move maintains defensive depth. And the squad that won England is now carrying the memory of how close it came to winning Europe. But championships are not won on paper. They are won when something goes wrong. When your best defender disappears, when your attack stops scoring, when Europe lands between 2 massive league matches, when a new signing has to perform before he fully understands the system. Arteta said this summer that Arsenal wanted to take the club to a different level. Maybe that is what this window is really about. Not building a starting 11 that looks stronger on a graphic. Building a squad that can absorb chaos without changing its ambition. Arsenal spent 22 years trying to become champions again. Now comes a completely different challenge, staying there. And after coming one shootout away from the Champions League trophy, maybe England is no longer the ceiling. Maybe it is only the beginning. Can Arsenal win both the Premier League and Champions League?